What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the POF Pod, and big welcome to Anushka. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm real good.
Did I say the name right?
Yes, you did. You got it just right. But you can always call me Mistress Velvet.
Mistress? Okay. Okay, that's
Thanks
that's
again.
maybe I'll just say that throughout the whole show. Mistress Anushka. Is that
Yes.
a name that a lot of people mispronounce?
Actually, no.
Hmm.
Funny enough, most people get it right, which surprises me.
It surprises me too because I'm somebody who actually butchers names right away from the jump. So I'm proud of myself. Actually, I'm gonna give myself a round of applause today. So, so what's going on with you today? How's it hanging in NYC?
It's a rainy, gloomy day in New York, but still a great day to be reigning supreme.
It is a great day to be reigning supreme, and you've been reigning supreme for a while throughout the Dom world, isn't that correct?
Indeed, indeed, I have.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like how long ago did you get into it, or have you always been the dominant one?
I feel like as a person, I'm naturally very domineering. That's just my character. But my first BDSM experience was age 20,
Mm,
and it lasted for a while. In fact, this is gonna give away my age, but it's been 16 years,
okay.
and my first sub is still on my OnlyFans.
Oh wow! Shout out to that guy.
So yeah,
You gotta appreciate the real loyal
the
subs in your life.
loyalty. I don't know at this point. I don't know if it's loyalty or addiction, but
Mm,
shout out to him either way.
a- Absolutely, absolutely. What does the word loyalty mean to you?
Loyalty means respect,
Mm,
consideration, integrity,
mhm.
honesty. For my submissives, it also means servitude,
I love that.
dedication. I probably said that already. It's many things. Loyalty is a very,
Yeah,
very
no, there's a
big
lot of
one.
there's a lot of attachments that can go to that word without a doubt. In the world of being a sub to such a dominant one, such as yourself, is there such thing as like cheating on the one that you're submissive to? Like, is it like exclusive to whoever your
You
dom is?
see, myself, because I take my BDSM relationships just as seriously as I would take any other relationship because it is a dating dynamic. And in fact, unless you're really striving for equality, even in your vanilla relationship, it is a DS dynamic.
Hmm.
Um, Usually for many many people. So yes, I do take the connections seriously, and I do treat them like relationships, and you know, yeah.
I love that. No, that's a great way to answer that. Honestly, um, what about like boundaries? What are there? Is there a lot of boundaries set when you're a sub?
I love that you've brought that up. Yes, definitely, and that starts from the get go, from your approach. So it's in the way you would even greet your dominant. That tells me a lot about a person. The way someone, they're open and lying to me can pretty much tell me their age and their experience in this world. So absolutely.
Right. Yeah. No. Totally. Age, I'm sure, could play a huge role because if you have a less mature member within your community of subs, you could probably tell that right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely be like, oh, you're a baby still. You need some teaching, need some
Yeah.
training.
Some whipping, some spanking, maybe.
With consent, only with consent.
Right. Right.
I was over here
Cons-
sticking tape over my coffee cup before we went live so that, there was no logo branding
ah,
difficulties with my Palo latte.
That's very, very smart of you. You must be a really business-minded woman.
Well, I'm actually a filmmaker in my vanilla life, so I know a lot
That's
about
amazing.
these things. I screenwrite, and my biggest passion is production design, which is it's kind of like set design, but for
Hmm.
movies and TV shows. But it goes deeper, where you have to kind of look at the character and the script and design their whole environment, what kind of clothing they would wear, what kind of apartment they would live in, things like that. So
Right. Well, you could totally tell that you are into the aesthetics of everything when it comes to visuals, because even in your pictures that you put out, you could tell that everything was well thought
there's
out. So
always
that,
little things to look for in the
yeah,
background. I'm glad you noticed.
absolutely. Yeah. So being a filmmaker, like, what kind of films do you dive into?
I really enjoy the kind of the UK street stuff. So
Uh,
back in London, I worked on a lot of cult things. I'm not going to name names for, again, brand purposes, but let's say there was a pretty. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna say what shows I worked on because I would hate for
it's
people
okay.
to start looking me up. But yeah,
That's excellent. I see you
UK
got a big.
street stuff is definitely kind of what I came up on.
I love the accent. I actually wasn't sure what kind of accent you would have. So hearing that you have a more of a British accent, right?
Yes, I absolutely do. Although I am Ukrainian,
Okay.
which
Shout
I
out to
feel
the
like I
Ukraine.
should mention. Shout out to Ukraine. Let's hope there's peace very, very soon.
I know you're
Um,
very proud of being Ukrainian, and you can see it, on all of your social platforms. You got the flag, the emoji flag on everything. Um,
Absolutely.
I know that we're probably not going to get too much into everything that's going on over there and everything, but I do love that you show so much support in everything that's going on in the world right now. What makes you want to be so like involved in worldly matter and showing
Um,
people that you care about much more than just yourself?
I actually have a crazy story that ties in because aged
Hmm.
11, we're looking at Ukrainian refugees now, but I was like in the first wave. I was probably like one of the first Ukrainian refugees out of, the Soviet Union.
Wow.
And I kind of got to grow up and witness the conflicts that the whole world is getting to, see now. I kind of got to watch how they sparked up. And because I come from a very creative family who were creating Ukrainian art, they were very much penalized for that. And, we had to relocate. So yeah, aged 11, I had to travel alone from Ukraine to London, which was quite a journey in itself. So yeah,
We're quite spoiled in the US, aren't we?
hate to say it, definitely hate to say it. I mean, we are in London too, but the last few weeks, the last 2 months have been a huge reminder for me personally of where I come from and the things, the stories that I am yet to tell, especially
Right.
in my filmmaking career.
Well, I want to dive into that a little bit more. But first, shall we do our first foot marshal?
Sure, even though I only have one cam, sadly.
Hey, we make it work no matter what on the POF pod. So shout
Hey,
out to that. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for being on the podcast right now. If you are here live, make sure you do us all a favor and press the like button. If you have not subscribed yet to the podcast, do that right now. Remember, this podcast is also available on Apple, so you can listen on the go after the live recording. Also on Spotify, along with video, so you can watch it in two places, on YouTube and on Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those great places. I love the live interaction too. I love to see the comments. I know Anushka would love to see the comments as well. I see that we have some in here so far. So just to motivate that, let's go ahead and shout out some of the people during this foot commercial. We got Oil Dodino, man. We got Hassan. We got Mariceli. Okay.
Hey, hey, sweetie.
We got Elite Feet Street Premium. Shout out to you. We got I Love Feet YouTube, YT. We got Anthony Cirillo. I probably said that wrong. I told you I butcher names. Logan Lee. Shout out to all of you in the comments right now. We got Coverland Darkness, William Lewis. Like I said, drop those comments. We're here. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, being that you're from, or you are Ukrainian and you came from London and you moved to NYC at what age? At a tender age, right?
No, not at all a tender age. I actually came here in my late 20s.
Mm.
The end of my 20s, I came here to catch some dreams with, my filmmaking.
I feel like NYC is a good place to be in filmmaking.
It's an amazing place to be in filmmaking, definitely.
Have you ever thought of Hollywood or Los Angeles?
Definitely, definitely. Eventually, that's going to happen, but just not yet. I still have some things to do here. I
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
love New York, so
I see you got a lot of books next to you right now as well.
I'm a big reader. I'm a big reader and I'm a big writer. And I like to research what I do. So,
It
yes, I
seems
have
like
a
you're
book, untangling communication and sex, kink, and relationships and things like that. I'm very much into.
I love it. It seems like you're a very deep person and you do a lot of research. I noticed that you even researched the podcast before you came on here and dove into some comments, dove into some episodes. So thank you for that. But that leads me to want to ask, do you feel like sometimes that being such a deep person that you are misunderstood?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially because, as much as I present my feet and I love the foot fetish scene and community. I am a dom. I'm not just a foot model. So people don't understand the difference a lot of the time.
What would the difference between the two be to you?
Well, see, foot fetish in itself is a very broad umbrella, and most people don't really understand the fact that it still comes under the BDSM umbrella on top of it. So the BD is actually where foot fetish sits because it's a it's still a domineering fetish. Although some people may say, they're not submissive, but you still have to lower yourself before a woman in order to appreciate her feet.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially
Right.
that is a very submissive and respectful, you have to drop your ego and you have to bow down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I fit in. So
I
it's a
love that.
little more than just, being into my feet. I like you to work for my feet. I like you to serve me. I like you to appreciate me and appreciate the care that I put into myself and my feet and so on and so forth.
As they should, as they should. No, that makes so much sense because if you're into foot modeling, then you would just take pictures and post pictures on whatever platforms. But if you're into being dominant, then you would expect more of the treatment. No, that totally makes sense. And
Yeah, so you have to, a lot of foot models in the community are actually dominant. So I definitely would advise guys to pay attention to the tone of the content.
mhm,
And that way, if you can see that somebody is about things like humiliation and, things of that nature, then they may not necessarily be somebody that's just going to be twinkling their toes for you on camera.
it seems like it's really a lifestyle more than anything. Would you say?
Yes, it definitely is. I definitely class myself as more of a lifestyle big letter because just because of the way my life is now set up, I have some of my foot guys who come and clean my house. They come and do my dishes. They'll go and drop off my laundry. They are actively serving. They help me with content. Um, so yeah, very
So
much of that style.
to
Like my
be,
sub literally brought me this flowers right before.
is that right?
Yeah, right before this, because he knew I was nervous, and you know, that's
Right.
definitely more than just somebody that that likes my content. There is depth to the connection.
So there's much more to just sexual satisfaction and things of that sort when it comes to being a sub to a woman like you.
Absolutely. In fact, I feel like sexual satisfaction comes last. It's more about satisfying me and catering to my needs and learning about women, like the subs learning about women, which they can then apply to their dating life and so on and so forth. A lot of people come to me you know, for guidance and making better choices, whether it means eating clean or, yeah, things like that. There's just so much more to it than just, sexualizing my feet or sexualizing who I am.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly interesting because I think that in a lot of different scenarios, people do get it mixed up on how to properly be a sub or to properly be dominant. Um, do you feel like there's ever opportunities where you can maybe mentor others in that ballpark?
I actually do mentor people. The people I can name off the top of my head whom I've mentored would be people like Latina Marina, Goddess Saint in the Bronx. I actually shout to Goddess Saint because she took the knowledge that I gave her and she turned it into an art form. So now she's, making floggers, and she also has lifestyle subs who, attend to her. And yeah, it's really awesome to kind of plant that seed and see what somebody can do with it in the fetish community.
Right. Is there other things that you might be like a great mentor in life, you feel?
Possibly. You never know. You never know. That's a good question.
I'm
That's
sure there is because it seems like you care about others and how they feel.
I definitely do, but that's what gets me in trouble. So I'm trying to tone that part of me down. That's the Pisces in me.
I feel like the people who do care about the way other people feel, those are the people that, really win in life. But also it could be the people that get took advantage of the most. So it's a tricky ball game, no doubt.
Yeah.
Something that something that I would have to do the red light on. Uh Speaking of red light, I wanted to talk to you about that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The light system.
Oh, my traffic light system.
Mhm.
So during scenes, I offer the sub traffic light system where, well, normal play, that's, green light, that's consent, but amber is for, if he's feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and then red is like, stop. Okay, I'm freaking out. This means they're either too nervous, or it means that they may be, getting to their pain threshold, to their pain limit. So yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. And like during the scenes and what have you, is there is there certain words that your subs must use?
um Not really. There's a big no with me. I'm very big on ethics, so I don't like using the S word, like the SLAVE word. and it actually comes up very often, and I feel like it's very triggering and inconsiderate
Hmm.
towards, members of our community. um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I stick to submissive, and when someone comes to me using the other S word, that's something I, train out of them very quickly.
And that ties back into boundaries right there. Those are your boundaries
Absolutely.
and your guidelines. I hear you on that. No, I mean, it's very important. And I do know that there is a lot of different types of kinks and what have you in the world. And sometimes some people, they want to go down the road where they are called that word that you just mentioned. I don't know if you're familiar with the rapper Mano at all. Are you?
Yeah, so I saw that conversation the other day about what he was saying, and then he kind of didn't he go back on it and say he was joking.
I don't think he was joking. I think
I
he
don't
was
think he
serious.
was joking, but I've had those requests in the past, and I feel like it's a lot of fetishes stem from trauma, and there are certain traumas that should not be fed, and it's our responsibility as providers, because as DOMs, we are providers. We have to be very conscious of what we do and what we don't provide. And there are so many times where people might approach you for a BDSM session or scene, or, consultation, video call, custom, whatever it may be, but it's they may not necessarily need that. They probably need a therapy session. They probably need
Mm.
love, and not somebody that caters to, that particular kink.
No, that's very interesting to hear because you're right. It's got to be because of some kind of trauma. And I believe that the studies do show that it is always, most of the time, from past experiences that maybe they enjoyed or they didn't enjoy. And if they didn't enjoy it, they want to relive it so that they can feel like they have some kind of power or what have you in that kind
Yeah.
of scenario. So yeah, no, it's truly interesting.
No, trauma is very much linked to our sexuality. So it's almost like, yeah, like the way our nerves even work with, things like pain, and when we witness something traumatic, the emotion that our body goes through is very similar to arousal. And I feel like somewhere along, on that platform, people's perception of their, turn-ons gets mixed up, for real.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be. Has anybody ever told you that the accent that you have is like I don't know what it is, but
Is
the
it
British,
giving you ASMR vibes?
yeah, is there's something about the accent, and I think a lot of people could relate to this. That the British accent is just something about it that is awesome. And I spoke about this on one of my podcasts. It's the reason why I think I enjoyed the Bridgerton series on Netflix.
Is because of the accent?
I think so.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the positive things I got to take away from my immigrant experience. The
Right.
accent.
I feel you on that. Well, how about a foot commercial and then we'll come right back.
Another one? Let's do
Yeah,
this.
let's do it. Once again, everybody, smash the like button if you are here live. If you are not, still go to YouTube and press the like button. If you're on Spotify, leave that review. Apple, leave that review. If you want to sponsor this podcast, holler at me. My email is in all my links on IG and on Twitter. My ats are right here on the screen. If you can't see the screen, it's Plenty of Feet Pod. My personal is Daddy Goodz. I got all of Anushka's socials right here as well. We got Twitter, it's Anushka Velvet. IG is Anushka.velvet. and that's Anushkavelvet. And OMG Anushka, she has two, because IG likes to hate
Pick
on
on
the,
people.
yeah, pick on people. They like to pick on people. That's all good. But I think there's going to be a shift in all of the social medias coming soon, because you got people like Elon Musk buying Twitter and what have you. So
You
I think
think
there's,
he's gonna let us rock?
I think so. Yeah, because he believes in free speech and he talks about it a lot. And he doesn't like how political all the social platforms have gotten. And he's been very open about it. So I believe that he's definitely gonna let the people rock and do whatever it is that they do. So, with waves like that in the social media arena, it's gotta carry over to the others at some point. Because if everybody starts going to Twitter, you better believe that IG, TikTok, all these other platforms are gonna start following suit and using the same guidelines that the more popular social media is using.
Yeah, and I feel like Elon will definitely make Twitter pop off just that little bit more in that sense, as a brand.
He totally will. He totally will. I believe it, and we just got to see it now. But other than that, Anushka, is there anything that you would like to get off your chest before we end the podcast today?
Mm, I wouldn't say get off my chest. I would say I've said most of my pieces for the most part. I would like to jeez, shout out to Yero because she mentored me coming into this community.
Shout out Tierra.
And yeah, all my people that come from the school of Tierra, like BK Tickler, shout out Saint, and yeah, I love y'all, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate this community. It's been a very healing space for me. So yes.
Before we fully get off, could we touch on that a little bit, on how it's been a healing space for you?
That's a good one. So part of my story, this is where we're gonna get deep, just that little bit
Okay.
deeper. I am actually a DV survivor.
Mm.
And being able to get to know men in a space where they're not abusive, where they are willing to listen, where they're willing to cater to me, has, allowed me to look at the world in a better light than I used to. So yeah.
That's amazing right there. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It surely means a lot to me, and I'm sure that it means a lot to others as well, that you came on and spent some time with us. I know that you're a very, very busy, dominant woman, so
I
we're going to allow you.
appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an honor to have you on here, and hopefully we could do it again in the upcoming shows to come.
I would love to come back.
Amazing. All right. Well, how about this? We will foot marshal our ways on out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And before we completely get off, Anushka, don't go nowhere. Let's get it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got Anushka Velvet, fire, fire, individual, personality, foot model, filmmaker, all that good
Lifestyle
stuff. Yeah.
Dom.
Lifestyle Dom. Holler at her if you're looking for that in your life. I'm sure she can figure something out for you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Smash that like button, and we are